Hello, my name is Mackie, and welcome back to another edition of League Review, where I'm going to be talking different series using stats and numbers and narratives. We are going to cover in today's series and also yesterday's series because I don't even have time to do the yesterday's series because lazy brain. Anyways, we're going to kick off with probably the weirdest series I ever watched, Bro versus KRX, and I have to say congratulations, KRX, for getting their first series win, but I'm not sure if you even deserve to have that series win. So let's just go through all of it. Gideon, amazing on Kazakhs. 8, 2, 12 with a 10 KDA, 87 kill participation percentage at 25.5k damage. This guy was all over the map, of course, just sniping all W's, making them like almost one shot them in most cases. He was like a sniper in the jungle, of course. So I got Gideon in my first game, and then the game two and game three was weird. I mean, game two was pretty much a bro victory until it's not. If you look at game two, like if you look at the game two and you look at all the stats from KRX, you see Gideon doing well on the Lee Sin, Caston put up some work, Loki did some work, Teddy do some work, and you're thinking, oh, that means Breon win. Instead, it's not. And look at the graph. This was all Breon. Like, look at the graph. All of Breon throughout the entire game. The highest they ever gone to, it's about 9,344k gold. If you have a 9,000 goal lead at around, like, let's just say 39 minutes or so, you're supposed to win the game half the time. But as I said, look at that time. About 42, 43 minutes. This was a really long game. And then, strangely enough, it was Andel's game and then Lazyfield doing all the damage. And then all of a sudden, the bro just capitulate. And just look at that. Breon had a goal lead when the Nexus exploded. That's how weird it is. Breon had a goal lead when the Nexus explodes in favor of KRX. That is just absolutely weird. So I have no other choice but to declare the support for KRX and Andel with a 0-3-23 as my Game 2 MVP, 7.7 KDA, 85 kill participation, and 4.9k damage. And then Game 3 was all the Willer show. On the Jarvan, 3-1-10, 13 KDA, 93 kill participation percentage, and 8.8k damage as KRX defeat the bros and actually win that first series of the year. I mean, if you are a bro fan, you must be feeling like you get the highest of highs and then sadly the lowest of lows. That's life as a bro fan, I guess. My three thoughts of the series. It is listen, the series was weird enough that I have to give the losing jungler the first star. That is how really bad it is. The jungler for bro Gideon get my first star. I just can't even compute. 17, 9, and 27, 4.9 KDA, 79 kill participation percentage at 50.5k damage. For my second star is going to Lazyfield on the AD carry, 11, 9, and 24, 3.9 KDA, 76 kill participation percentage at 70.2k damage. And then Andal support 1, 13, 37, 2.9 KDA, 83 kill participation at 15.9k damage. For my team of the series, I have to go with little Teddy here. 17, 10, and 21, 3.8 KDA, 68 kill participation, and 90.4k damage. I'm not sure if Teddy is getting the Timu of the series, of course. I think he did okay in this series. I mean, I'm just looking at the RFTG rating stats, of course, by community purpose. If you look at Teddy's games, I mean, his games are kind of like great in the first game and then not so great in the next two. The same with Gideon, of course, but I do not know if, I mean, he did. I mean, Gideon did well in the second game, of course, to nearly put Bro in a position to win, and unfortunately, they just capitulated, of course. So I don't think now Gideon is doing anything else. I think Teddy deserves award winner of the team of the series. On to the second series, and KT Rosa just absolutely put Nash and Red Force into the dirt. Well, not clearly in the dirt. If you look at the series, by the way, I believe the Nash and Red Force put us some decent fight. By the way, this was a 42 killed in 38 minutes kind of game. Game one was pretty much an even Steven game, but Kingen, man. Kingen on the Cassante. Ew. Not great. 0-5-6. Not what you see from a really decent player like Kingen, of course. And yeah, the rest of the team did not do well. Like Scout, man. Scout 9-2-5. Scout 9-2-5 with a 7 KDA and 74% kill participation at 33.7k damage. He's supposed to be the MVP for that, but unfortunately, it did not. It did not because it went to Cuz, who was unbelievable on the Pantheon. 8-5-7 with a 3 KDA, 65 kill participation at 29.9k damage. That is absurd. And then, of course, I didn't get the stats from the game two, but even then, I think game two was like an anomaly. I think it was going to be between, it was going to be a battle between Eamon or BDD, and I will go with BDD on the Ari because he was magnificent with all the charms, with the movements, with the absolute outplays. It was incredible. 8-5-13, 4.2 KDA at 75 kill participation at 28.1k damage. He was phenomenal on the Ari, and KT Roster dominated another series and now 3-0 in series scored. And looking at the best team in the world right now. Of course, with an LPL team that is more likely to do so. But I'll get to that later. My three stars of the game is Cuz 18-8-24 at 5.3 KDA, 81 kill participation at 28.6k damage. BDD. Okay, where was I? Okay, BDD from KT 13-8-22 with a 4.4 KDA, 68 kill participation at 29.7k damage. And an effort on the support 6-4-38 with 11 KDA and 86 kill participation at 7.7k damage. My team of the series was Taeyun, 7-13-14, 1.6 KDA, 66 kill participation at 32.9k damage. He was not up to it in today's game, man. KT Roster are 3-0 and looking like the best team in the LCK right now, which is worrying for KT Roster fans. Because I've seen this movie before, of course. KT Roster looking good, and then we all know how that happens. On to the LPL, which is NIP versus Weibo Gaming, which was all about the bot laners. It was all about the bot laners. First Elk on the Corki, 9-3-9 with a 6 KDA, 75 kill participation at 32.5k damage. On to game two, and game three was all assumed. First on Jin, 3-1-8 with 11 KDA at a nice 69 kill participation percentage at 20.9k damage. Although, if you look at this entire series, I think I might give it to someone else for that game two series. Jin did well, 3-1-8, but maybe I would give it to Care. Or maybe I will give it to Hoya on the top lane, but I think Hoya gonna die a little too much. Maybe Zhou deserves some more, but I had to give it to Assume. But I will give Assume his flowers for his game 3 Tristana. I was never expected the Tristana bot lane with the Zoo to work. I mean, when the draft was coming in, I think even Nymera was surprised. Of course, Nymera cast in this game, not initialized. It's just Nymera alone. But even I was skeptical about this draft. But turns out it was muy perfecto, of course. Assume 8-2-4, 6 KDA, 75 kill participation at 26.4k damage. And he was, of course, sadly, it's not my first star. It turns out Care deserved the first star as well. I think he deserved from like the game 2 perspective, and I think he deserved the game 3. Now I know what you're thinking, Akeem. Hey, but Assume won game 2 and game 3 by himself. Does he deserve like first star? And yes, but I'm looking for overall performance. I'm just not gonna do it by 2 games of performance. Great, but you're not gonna get overall performance. I want to see which players do well from a statistical and overall performance. And Care deserves some love for his play. 13-5-20, 6.6 KDA, 70 kill participation at 63.6k damage. And then, of course, Assume 15-7-17, 4.6 KDA and 68 kill participation at 79.7k damage for the second star. And then Zhu on the support, 3-11-38, 3.7 KDA, 87 kill participation and 20.2k damage. And my team of the series are going to go with JJ at 9-9-17, 2.9 KDA, 62 kill participation at 44.1k damage. And I think it was a tricky one. I mean, it was a tricky one, like really tricky. Like, Xiaoju, okay, he was fine. Elk was good. Hong did well. I think you say Hong was pretty much the worst player of that team. But I think JJ did was rock so brilliant, of course. I mean, the Olaf did not work. 3, 2, and 5. I think the Olaf is like kind of meh. And then the 055 Jarvan just not great. And yeah, I do not think he deserves of praise. I mean, yeah, supports are bad, but we knew supports are bad. It's just like, can anybody other than support just be bad? And JJ was. So we're moving on to the final series of today, which is BLG versus WE, and unfortunately, this was not even close. Well, WE put up some fight, I'll give them that, but this is the reigning best team in all of the world right now, until KT Rolls are otherwise. And they just show up and have it hands check and just absolutely dominate you. First off to Mr. Shun on the jungle with the Xin Shao, 8, 1, and 5, 13 KDA, 52 kill participation, and 13.9k damage. And then for the second game, I have to give it a support on the Bard, pun intended on 2, 5, and 15, 3.4 KDA with 100% kill participation at 6.8k damage. When you pull up 100% on the kill participation, that is incredible. That showcases your entire overall brilliance on the map. And, you know, this entire BLG team are just so good right now. In the lane, in the team fighting, in the hands check, everywhere. It almost feels like winning first stand just lifted the burden off their shoulders and now have to play like the most dominant League of Legends they have. Which, by the way, I believe, if I can say, that is now BLG's 11th series in a row. This is wild here. This is absolutely wild here if you are a BLG fan. They have not lost a series since pretty much February. They have not lost a series in the Anyone's Legends that I mentioned. And they have not lost a series. So, yeah, you got to go back all the way to the 6th of February. The 6th of February right now. And if I may, let me just do some Google research. So it's February 6th. 62 days. BLG have not lost a series in 62 days. That is wild. That is like almost like 9 weeks since they lost a series. 9 weeks since BLG has lost a series. It is amazing. It is amazing that this BLG team is keeping improving and dominated and just showing up. And let me yeah. Just trying to go back to BLG. Just trying to go back to BLG and this moment. And I mean, they didn't even get over the stats for this game, but I just don't even need the stats, how good they are. If you look at whoa, BLG's next match against Weibo Gaming. Ooh, this is gonna be a test. This is gonna be a test. Ooh, BLG's next game. In fact, next games will be at versus Weibo, versus JDG, and versus Top Esports, and then IG, and then Anyone's a Legend. And of course, they're facing the same teams in their same group. So I do not think that this team's going to have their streak long, and I think the streak might be broken by this week or next. But man, what domination from this team. It is probably, you're looking at right now, hands down, the best team in the world, and they're showing up like it. So I think that concludes today's series, and now it is time for me to clear all your minds, empty out, and get ready for yesterday's series that I'm going to do in a couple of minutes. Okay, we are back, and we are back to talk about yesterday's series, of course, in which we're going to kick off with the big clash between Gen.G and T1, and Gen.G just absolutely white T1 on the floor, which I try to comfort T1 fans and saying you're okay, but you know T1 fans, they're not the kindest. Keen on the Sion, 4-0-8, perfection, 75 kill participation, and 12k damage. Just absolutely being the boss of the top lane. And then there was a trophy show, as per usual, with the Annie, 1-2-13 with a 7k DA, 74 kill participation, and 26.4k damage. Trophy's my first star, 5-2-19, 12 KDA, 69 kill participation, nice, 50.6k damage. Keen, 8-0-18, perfect KDA, 74 kill participation, and 28.3k damage. And then finally for Canyon, 6'6" and 24.3, 74 kilopixels per pigeon and 23.7k damage. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, T1 fans. You have to cover your eyes because Faker is the team of the series with a 285.9 KDA and 24.7k damage. I mean, if you are like a Gen.G fan, this is like the bounce back series you needed. And this is an absolute dominant series from the jump. If you look at the time, by the way, it took us almost 55 minutes. Like, Jesus, that is just how brutal it is. And you see Faker's numbers, not great for a caliber of the player that he is. I'm not saying he's like Faker pre-2017 great, but he's just like not as decent as he once brilliant. But I'm just saying this is not the great numbers that he show up. He's better than this, man. He's way better than this. But then again, Chovy just absolutely dominate you. So if you get beat by Chovy, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And this was an absolute dominant series, of course. And if you look at the LCK standings right now, and yes, I'm looking at yesterday's series, but if you look at the LCK standings right now, it is, well, they don't show the standings, but it's pretty much feeling like KT Rolster is on top, and T1 is kind of like in the middle, of course. Let me just show you the standings. Let me just show you the standings right now. Just let me just show you the standings, okay? I'm gonna show you the standings, okay? I have time in my hands. So if you look at the standings, by the way, you see KT Rolls are on top. Gen.G in Honda Life Esports is right there. Nosh and Rifles is right there. So you can say this is pretty much a decent top four. And then T1 is like 1 and 2. Below the Supers. And the Breon. But listen, let's be honest. You look at the schedule they have to face a really good KT roster team, a really good Honda Life Esports team, and a really good Gen.G team. And by the way, they beat Honda Life Esports 2-0. So I think you can say that the schedule is pretty much favoring them. They got Supers, and they got D plus Kia, and then KRX coming up for the next 3 weeks. They will bounce back and get 4 and 2, and they'll be fine. All's good and well. And then they got Breon and then FearX. They're gonna be like, I don't know, 6 and 2 before there's, the second half of the season, the second half of the double robin. So I think they'll be in an okay position. They're gonna have a lot of issues to deal with, and I'm not sure if I can help them with that. But I think they need to fix their whole thing before they're gonna have to, fix themselves. It's a long season. We get it. It's a long season, especially in the LCK season. But still, it is virtually panic time for the T1 fan. The second series I want to talk about in the LCK was Honda Life versus DK. And Honda Life looks absolutely brilliant. 7-1 and 17 on Kanavi with the Jarvan. 24 KDA with 100 kill participation and 27.27k damage. And then the Kazakhs. I mean, I tell you about a Kazakhs game from earlier on, the way back in the first segment, and we show another Kazakhs game brilliance. Actually, yesterday was a brilliant Kazakhs game. Today was another one. Kanavi was on point, 11-3 and 3, 4.7 KDA, 82 kill participation at 23.1k damage. And he was my first star of the series. Absolute beauty. 8, 4, 29.5 KDA, 93 kill participation and 50.8k damage. Zeus in the top 4, 2, 14, 9 KDA, 44 kill participation and 39.5k damage. And then for the Light, 2, 7, 28, 4.3 KDA, 73 kill participation at 16.4k damage. My team of the series was Lucid, 5, 9, and 10, 1.7, 65 kill participation at 23.9k damage. I think it's a little bit harsh. To be honest, because I think he's getting jungle gap, of course, and when you get jungle gap, I don't think there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, these numbers are great. Look at the percentage. 99 percentile. Like, he was brilliant on Jarvan, and then he was brilliant on Kazakhs, two of the most incredible performances we've seen from a jungler in a long while. And what a performance by Kanavi. Well deserved his flowers. And wow, amazing. So we move on to IG versus NiP. And NiP, of course, played today against Weibo. And then this is yesterday's matchup, of course. This was a wild one, to say the least. IG won the series, but I just don't feel like IG just won the series. Like the same thing I said about KRX won in that series against Breon. I just don't feel like KRX won the series, in my opinion. Breed on the top lane with a best of 1-0-5, perfection, 55 KD, participation, and 16.9k damage. Now you're thinking to yourself, Akeem, that's just awful numbers. And I said, yes, it was awful, awful numbers. But I will look at, the damage that he made and the impact he has in the game with the, trying to neutralize the ball lane of Assume, which was a big threat, and he did. He seeks the bot laner and kills it and just makes the team fight all the whole. So I guess look at that. Also, Jaju not doing well, Renan not doing well, Way fine, but just not doing well. And I think Bree deserve it for not dying, but also making an impact. That's all we need. And in game 2, we got the Esports Garage biggest moment of the year. We got a 0-0-0 baby from Hoya. And he contributed for the win because he's split pushing in the bot lane, of course, and then the rest of the team trying to get Baron. They stopped the recalls of IG, and it was kind of like too late. And Hoya did absolute God's work. 0 deaths, 0 kills, 0 assists. Manon and Julian are proud of you guys. They are proud of you. Take a bow, Mr. Hoya. You deserve the game MVP. I'm kidding. He's not the game MVP. He's not the game MVP, guys. Just calm down. Guyan on the Pantheon is 4-1-2 with a 6 KDA, 67 kill participation, and 14.9k damage. So he's the real MVP, of course. But Hoya deserves his flowers. And then game 3 was the Skarner game. It was the Jun Skarner game. He was everywhere on the map. 74 kill participation and 8-1-12 with a 20 KDA and 14.3k damage. Not as highly damaged as, Renard. I think it shouldn't give it to Renard on the damage front. But I think you could say that his movement on the map, his incredibleness, he got some incredible plays, and he deserves it. Maybe I think Mako deserves some love. I was pretty much in back and forth, but I'll give the Skarner, of course. Speaking of Mako, he's my first star, of course. 4-4-35, 9.8 KDA, 91 kill participation, and 32.4k damage. Then Wei on the jungle, 11-4-21, 8 KDA, 74 kill participation at 36.3k damage. And finally for Renard on the mid lane, 11-6-12, 3.7 KDA, 53 kill participation at 68.5k damage. And my team of the series was Kara in the mid lane, 2-9-8, 1.1 KDA, 33 kill participation at 48.7k damage. Not a good series for Kara, of course, and not a great series for an NIP. They did bounce back and win, of course, today's series. But we're talking about yesterday and just not a good look for them. So that concludes today and yesterday's matchups. Now let's looking forward to tomorrow, which is Friday, by the way. And the chaos does not come yet from the LEC LCS. That is for Saturday. But for tomorrow, T1 will bounce back, of course, against Supers. I believe T1 is going to win that series, of course. And then Hololive versus FearX. I think FearX confidence right now is pretty much on an all-time low. I think Hololive Esports is at a really good high with Kanavi doing well. So I think Hololive Esports will win this one. And then for the LPL, we got EDG versus LNG. This is going to be a toss-up game. I think EDG is going to win. I think EDG is going to take care of themselves. And then Anyone's Legend versus JDG. I give it Anyone's Legend this one. Maybe a 2-1 series if we have to. So those are the series for tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. You better like, comment, subscribe to this channel for more League of Legends stuff, shorts, content, all this kind of stuff. We're almost close to the magical 100 subscriber mark. So please subscribe to this channel if you want more of this stuff. And I will see you all later. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and Masters. And see you later.